What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
I don't believe he wants to annex Canada. That's one of his fantasies, and he might sometimes believe himself. I'm not his psychiatrist. It's just not even possible. Do not distillate fear by repeating something which will not happen. There are some real and important threats on Quebec and Canada from this weird man. Let's face the real threats.
Yeah, okay. Yves-François Blanchet, I'm not sure what he's going on about. He just wants to dismiss this whole idea of Canada being annexed by the U.S. Okay, that's fine, his opinion. Although he did call Donald Trump weird, which I thought was kind of cool. James Mennie, Montreal Gazette's on the line. Jim, if I heard right today, beyond that from Yves-François Blanchet, and really haven't heard from him in quite some time, I think at one point he also today said he didn't believe there were any interprovincial trade barriers, as if Quebec doesn't have any trade barriers. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. I didn't know what to make of it because we've actually had issues. We've had court challenges to various interprovincial trade barriers because he said there are no interprovincial trade barriers. Never mind Quebec, I mean across the country, but in fact there are. And we had the guy who I thought should be a national hero who was challenging New Brunswick's ban on bringing in out of province booze. So listen. With all due respect to Mr. Blanchet, at this particular point in time, Aaron, in this particular point in Canada's history, the most useless thing in the landscape is the Quebec separatists. I mean, they really can't say anything that justifies their existence, the existence of their movement. They are so, if anything, they have really been transformed into the museum pieces they have always been by the fact that right now, even in Quebec, people are not, wishfully thinking about la nation québécoise. They are figuring out how to get Canada to disentangle itself from the clutches of Donald Trump. And I think we may be seeing a glimmer of that today. I mean, I will beg the listeners' pardon in advance if events have gotten ahead of me, but it would seem with this infamous phone call, first of all, we found out that yesterday, even as Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, who you can also refer to as perhaps the most overpaid errand boy in North America, was saying that, there could be some compromises tomorrow. Here we have Donald Trump claiming that Canada called his office. It wasn't Canada that called him. The U.S. called Canada. And clearly that call followed not some shade of mercy crossing the soul of Donald Trump, but rather a delegation of U.S. automakers saying, make this stop right now, you're killing us. So now Trump has turned around and said, well, I'm going to suspend tariffs on automotive goods for the next 30 days. But he's got no control over what we impose. So if we want to slap tariffs on our aluminum, on our steel that's going down there, all of which is part and parcel of the construction of automobiles, we can feel free to do so. The other important thing that happened today, and in the wake of this so-called phone call with Donald Trump, we have Dominic LeBlanc, our finance minister, basically turning around saying, no. You want to renegotiate the trade agreement, that's fine. We're not going to do it. My words here, not his, but he essentially said, we're not going to do it with a gun to our head. So for Donald Trump to go in and say, okay, I'll take 3 bullets out of the gun, but I'm still holding it to your head, it's not going to work. And I think right now, the entire country would be very, very happy to see our countermeasures applied and applied hard. And we'll see how long it takes for the United States of Karen to start screaming like a banshee. My God, Aaron, it was less than 24 hours. And already, industrial delegations are complaining to the president that this has got to stop. And you look around, and I know it's tough for us because we're so focused on what's happening right across the border. We are right in the middle of this story. If you look around right now at what's happening globally in terms of the U.S.'s reputation as a trading partner, as an investment, a lot of money that used to be ready to go into the States is now going elsewhere simply because of the fruitcake who's running things, or pretending he's running things, in the Oval Office. So, I think the best thing that we can do is, like the T-shirt says, keep calm and carry on. And we'll wait and see who blinks first. But I have a sneaking suspicion, given even the events of the last 24 hours, it is not that the blink will not be happening on this side of the border.
You know, it's funny. I think back to the statement from the Prime Minister yesterday, the speech that the statement he made that we played at the end of the 5:30 segment, when he actually said, and this got a lot of reaction, obviously, in the U.S., right? He called him Donald twice. He just said, Donald. I think he was, Donald, you're a very smart guy, but this is a very dumb decision. And that obviously resonates south of the border. And I wondered today, because we know there was a phone call between the two of them, I'm thinking, what possible good can come from this phone call given that? And we found that, of course, nothing came from it.
No, and in fact, now he's suggesting on his social media accounts, Trump is suggesting that Trudeau's, engaged in some nefarious scheme to cling to power. I think, it's so funny, Aaron, because I know how sausages are made, so I try to be rational. But there's a part of me that wants to see things go differently. Last night, Trump's ridiculous speech to the joint session of Congress. Here are the Democrats proving once again why they're out of power. Oh, I think I'll pick up a paddleboard with a silent message. Oh, I think I'll put a message on the lapel of my pink dress. When they threw out Al Green, Representative Al Green, no, not that Al Green, the other Al Green. When they threw him out, every single member of the Senate and House caucus of the Democrats should have got up and walked out with him. And I guarantee you, even though Vladimir Putin's Russia would not have reporters covering them once they went into the lobby, it would have happened last night. It didn't. Because why? Because when push comes to shove, the Democrats are far more interested in making symbolic gestures, issuing sternly worded tweets, than they are about saving their own country. And that's why I'm so gratified to see Trudeau playing with Trump's head this way, with the Donald, with the idea that we know you're very, very smart, but this is really, really dumb. And I think the other thing, if somebody wants to have some fun, I don't know what's going to happen once the Liberals choose their leader. Are we going to go to an election, do whatever? There has been some question about when Trudeau will actually leave once the leader has been chosen. But I would respectfully submit, whoever is in charge, if you want to have some real fun with the United States of Trump, turn around and make Justin Trudeau our special envoy for tariffs, and make sure that Donald Trump has to go through Justin Trudeau if he wants to get his message to Canada. And then we'll see how that works. The guy is just a bag full of neuroses. It's going to be fun to play with. And, for those of you who are even texting the show right now saying, you're crazy, you're calling for the apocalypse. Right now, I think Donald Trump's hold on his office is being maintained by an increasingly slender thread. He's costing the wrong people a whole bunch of money, and that cannot endure.
Can I ask then, Jim, this idea that, that meeting between, or the phone call between Trudeau and Trump today, which basically achieved nothing other than Donald Trump calling out Justin Trudeau again and actually using a line. He says, he was unable to tell me, this is Trump talking about Trudeau, he was unable to tell me when the Canadian election is taking place. Like somehow he's interested in our election now. Yeah. But is the suggestion that, you know what? Okay, just let's back off. We don't need to talk because talk is not getting anything done. So just let's pull away. Is that the idea?
Honestly, I can't read the tea leaves on any of Trump's social media posts because they seem to be based in the moment. He's obviously angry with Justin Trudeau. He's obviously trying to undercut Trudeau's authority, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, his demonstrable fraud over the fentanyl traffic into the U.S. from Canada has been demonstrated. He can't hide behind that anymore. And it's clear that this is just part of a much larger grift that he's doing in terms of allowing his friends. I'm wondering how many of his cronies, bought on the dip yesterday, by the way he crashed the markets. But all that said, no, I think that Donald Trump has no strategy. He has one, like right now, Aaron, and then he'll wake up tomorrow, and then he'll have another one, and which is why we cannot flinch on this. This is never going to stop. It's not a matter of saying, well, if we do A, B, and C, then Trump will listen to reason. The idea behind negotiations, the old cliche, in good faith. Donald Trump does not have an ounce and never has had an ounce of good faith in him in the entirety of his life. He cannot be trusted. His word is worthless, which is why the only way to deal with Donald Trump is from a position of strength. And if we have to scream, I got to tell you, people may want my head, but honestly, if there was ever a reason to get into a fight, if there was ever a reason to really cut back and really do something, not just for you or your country or that abstract, but for your kids and how and what kind of a world they're going to grow up in, honestly, Aaron, parodies like Donald Trump have got to be stopped. We can't normalize this. The Americans did do that. We're seeing the price they're paying right now. It's got to stop. It may as well stop here. So you know what? Let's hope we get through this, and let's hope, how can I put it, not cooler heads, but more brain-filled heads prevail south of the border.
I want to play just one clip, Jim, and we'll wrap up. So Peter Navarro, who I think he's described as assistant to the president for trade and manufacturing policy.
Yeah, another ex-con.
Yeah. Take a listen. This is him reacting to what Justin Trudeau had said yesterday.
I say to him that 12 pounds of fentanyl coming across the borders, which is what they got, is enough to kill 3 million Americans. I would say to Mr. Trudeau that he has allowed Mexican drug cartels to embed themselves across Canada, bring up their little pill presses, and manufacture these fake prescription drugs, which then find their way. So I think, Mr. Trudeau, it would be really useful if he just toned stuff down.
There you go. If he tones stuff down.
I think Mr. Navarro and all the other money dogs who surround Donald Trump better be careful before they get reminded that if America has an opioid addiction, it wasn't because of Mexican cartels.
Yeah, and by the way, do we have a lot of Mexican cartels in Canada? Has this been an issue we've been dealing with for any length of time? Jim?
Apparently we do, but don't worry, Aaron. They've been designated terrorist organizations.
Oh, well, then we're okay. All right. Okay. Jim, real quick, you watched the address last night to the joint sessions of Congress, whatever?
I couldn't bear to listen to his voice, so I followed it online, Aaron.
Okay. I was going to ask you, because I started my show, and I'm going to ask the question now.
What?
There were a couple of moments last night that I was embarrassed, and I felt bad, and I thought, well, maybe it's just me. I'm too sensitive to some of the stuff that Donald Trump does.
No, Aaron, I got to tell you, like I said, I fully expected Trump to be Trump, okay? But what really ripped my heart was the fact that Democrats have learned nothing. Yeah. They are the same impotent, irrelevant, and frankly, self-indulgent bunch of egos that lost this election to the worst possible person who could be in charge of the U.S. right now.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Jim, thank you.
Demand.